Alright, I'm working on my 2003 Ram 1500. We're going to be replacing the brakes and rotors on this here today. And got my brake pads, and this come with the hardware to replace those. This is for our front brakes. We've got the rotors, and these things are really heavy. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, over here on the driver's side. Okay, so I'm getting a hold of the frame over here on the driver's side. It's right here. I've got a block to help get some extra lift, and I've also got a couple of jack stands here we're going to be using. Okay, I went ahead and just slightly broke the lugs loose. In this case I was using a 7/8, and these were kind of messed up, so I had to kind of hammer them on there. But we're going to get some replacement for these. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and get these lugs off here and remove our wheel. Let's see, I've got one jack stand there, and we just lift it up back there. And I'll put another one up here in the front once we get the wheel off. Okay, so we got the wheel off, jack stands in place. The first thing I want to do is just turn the wheel in that direction so we can get easier access to our bolts here. Okay, so we've got a 13 millimeter right here. We're going to go ahead and remove that. We've got one right here, and you'll want to use either a breaker bar or extended handle, depending on how tight these are. But we're going to go ahead and take these completely out here. Okay, so there's our two bolts out of there. Now we're going to take a screwdriver and come in here and kind of get a little pressure off of these. Okay, so just come in here at the top and the bottom. Just push those pistons over a little bit, and that'll give you slack to be able to get this off more easily. Okay, so we're just going to set this over here for a minute on this 5-gallon bucket. And these ain't just horrible, but I've got new pads and rotors, and so we're going to be just replacing it all, and this hardware here as well. We've got new hardware, and we're going to be putting those on. So we'll just remove all that stuff. Now we're going to go ahead. We've got a 21 millimeter here and here, so we got the upper and the lower. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to use my extended handle ratchet here, and we're going to get these loose. Now you may need to use a breaker bar and a cheater pipe, depending on how tight these are, because they get torqued to like 130 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and work on this now. Okay, and I'm able to get these with my extended ratchet, but you may in fact need to use a breaker bar and a cheater pipe additionally to get on out here to get this loose, just depending on how tight these are. But I was able to get these just with this, but it don't mean that yours will not be much tighter. So we're just going to go ahead and take these out. Now once we get to the last bolt here, we're going to need to get a hand on this bracket. We'll take them out one at a time, but we'll need to get a hand on it so it doesn't fall here. And there's that first bolt there. It's a pretty good sized bolt. We just got to finish getting this one here out now, and then that's going to remove this from the knuckle that we have here, and we'll be able to get the rotor off. And with that bolt off, we can just lift this right off of there. So we'll just set that aside. Now we're able to go ahead and remove the rotor. Now This one here is loose, but yours may not be. It could be stuck. They like to rust on here and rust around the stud, so you'll need to take some spray lubricant and put it in each one of these, and then take you a heavy shot filled rubber mallet or hammer. You know, in my case I'm replacing the rotor, so I don't care. You just take a big hammer and just knock it loose, because it could be rusted on there. But this one here is loose, and I'm able just to completely take it off without doing any of that. So we'll just set that aside, and now we'll just go ahead and get our new rotor over here, and we'll set it back on here. Okay, we got the new rotor. Because these are they put anti-rust on them, you want to clean this off with some brake cleaner, both sides. That way it's not getting onto your new pads. Okay, we got a new rotor. Just pushed it on here. Now we just need to get our bracket back on. We're going to be putting it back on here, but we're going to need to get some Loctite and put onto these bolts here. Okay, so we got some blue Loctite. We put on those bolts, and now we can just take this and set it right back into here, into place, and we'll just get these big bolts started by hand, just coming right back through here. Okay, with our torque wrench set to 130 foot-pounds, we're going to go ahead and tighten this upper and the lower. Okay, there's a couple ways you can push this back. You can crack the bleeder, and you can run it from an 1/8 inch vacuum hose into a bottle, or you can take a syringe and remove some of the fluid out of here. We're going to monitor it for now, as long as it doesn't start overflowing. We're going to go ahead and push this back. See, I've got just a couple of ordinary C-clamps. We're using the old pad because we got dual pistons. We got a C-clamp on each piston, and we're just going to push these all the way back as far as they go. That way we're able to get our new pads on. It'll go on without any issue here. Okay, we've got it pushed all the way back, you can see, and they'll stop once it's gone as far as it'll go. We'll go ahead and take the C-clamps and the old pad off. We did not come up too far. You can see the level didn't move a whole lot. And it'll probably go back to where it was when we go ahead and pump the brakes after we get it together. So we're going to go ahead and take this, the C-clamps off, and we'll get our new pads over here. Okay, so we got our new pads over here. And then we've got our new hardware that we're going to place back on here as well. Okay, so we've slipped our new hardware on there. It just, these are, the bottom is longer and the top piece is shorter. So this is the top, and they just go snap on there. Just these pieces here just snap right down onto the thing here, and it makes a nice snug fit once you get it snapped down on there like that. Push it all the way down. Same here. Pushed all the way down. So then we just go ahead and we take our pad, and we're gonna try to start with the bottom here. We're gonna slide it in, and it makes a nice tight fit when it goes in here. And we'll try to see if we can do this one hand. I'm going to have to pick that up just a little bit. So there is that one, and now we just need to go ahead and get the back one on the same way. Okay, so there we go, And now we just, of course this thing's moving around a little bit, but now we just need to go ahead. We've got this pushed back. We're gonna get a little bit of slide grease on here. So just push this slide out, push it that way. Just pushing it and working it out of the boots. Just peel that boot back. And we're gonna put a little bit of grease, and then we're just gonna slide them right back and into there. And just we want to make sure they do have a little bit of grease on them. Okay, now I had that pulled completely out, but I'd got it started back in there and put a little grease on it. We're just going to work it, push it right back into there, and it'll pop right back on that boot. And then we just need to pop this down here back onto that lip. That's sliding nice and smooth. So we're just going to take this one here completely out, just pop the end, put a little bit of grease on there. Okay, so now we're ready to pick this up and just set it right back onto here. And then we'll start working on putting the bolts back into their spots here and here. And make sure to line those up good and get them finger tight before you go to tighten it with the ratchet. Okay, and the caliper will set down onto there, kind of into that. And of course we've got it close to being lined up, and then this piece will set right down in there like that. So now we just got to get our bolts. We're going to put some medium Loctite on these as well and get them started back into our spots there. Okay, so I just finger tighten those all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and torque these to 25 foot-pounds. Okay, and there we are. Another look at our nice new rotors and hardware. Really simple job. So now we're going to go ahead and just get our wheel back on, and we'll tighten these lugs to 130 foot-pounds. Okay, so we got our lugs tight, and we're just going ahead and lowering it, and we got our jack stands out, and we're going to get the chocks out from behind the wheels here. Okay, and that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Just got the other side to do, and it'll be all finished up here. But if you did find it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and as always, I invite you to subscribe, and thank you for watching.